Diana, what are you working on today?
I am working on this beautiful, almost butter yellow velvet corduroy for a dress. That's cut part of it on the bias, and it has lovely pockets inside with silk and some extra trim on the sleeves, and then we have to get the neck just right. So that's what I'm working on.
So what are you doing with the neck then? Looks like quite a project.
Yes, it is. I want the neck to be sitting just so on the client, but also we've put the trim that matches the sleeves, and there's a couple of reasons for that. It accents the beautiful yellow, softens it, and just gives it that little bit of extra, what shall I say, exacting look. And with this, it's cut on the bias, so it has to come through and be pulled in a little bit, just so we have a little bit where it sits right here on the neck, nice and smooth. And that's a little bit fussy because this can give a lot. And so you want that to be, even though it looks very, very simple, it's not. It must be correct for that person's neck, because everybody's area in here is a little bit different. Some people it's a little bit fuller, some people it's sing a little bit more. So having that on there will just accent these sleeves beautifully. And the cuffs will go down like that, and then we'll put some beautiful little buttons on there, and it'll just be gorgeous. The skirt's a little bit fuller, so when we come down in here, I still have some extra. This has the top stitching done on this end, but it'll go all the way down on both sides, and because you're going on diagonals of the grain of the fabric here on the bias, you really have to be careful, because it can pull and it can stretch and it will bubble, because to try and get that line completely stretched straight, you'll see that the corduroy kind of has little lumps as you turn it on the bias here. But to get that thread, it's a double top stitch, so you want it to come down exactly straight, because that's going to be an accent on the line of the dress that comes down, and the skirt flares out just slightly and has a soft fold. The back has stitched down pleats and a little back area in here where a zipper will go. And with this, it comes right into the small of the back and then softly falls over the hip area and then gives us this beautiful skirt.
Tell me a bit about the process here, about, I guess, thinking of what would be the trim for this kind of fabric, what would work as far as the style goes when you're dealing with this weight of fabric.
Okay, the weight of the fabric is really, really important, because you have to have the drape. When I first start on something like this, I have to make a toile, which is a pattern, something like this. Okay, this isn't one for this one, but it'll show you that we make a pattern, we fit it to the arms. This is a sleeve for a different blouse, and so this is the perfect length. It's also the perfect width to fit under the arm comfortably, to sit on the shoulder comfortably, and it has to be wide enough but not too wide. So all these little things make huge differences. Some people say, well, what's a quarter of an inch? Quarter of an inch is actually on each side is a half an inch. So that all these things are very precise, and it gives you what's called a professional finish.
And like you were saying, then you're thinking about the drape of a particular fabric, and I guess what style that fabric would work in.
And even if you have it made in one fabric, it looks beautiful. You have to readjust everything for the next fabric if it's different. Like, say I made this dress in a silk, well, it would be totally different. and you'd have to look at everything. Would these pleats need to be a little bit bigger? Because you can see they're very small. They're little tuck pleats. Maybe in a silk you'd want it a little bit more. And how is the drape of that? Would you need a lining? Would you need the silk weighted at the bottom? So lots of different things. This particular one, because of the soft color, we decided to put a little bit darker trim on. And you can see it really shows up the diagonal. But it also does another little secret. If you notice that when you wear something of a light color, body oils, anything, always mark your cuff and your neckline. Have you ever had a white shirt and you wear it for an hour or two?
Yes.
And you take it off and all of a sudden you see this line, you go, what happened? Well, this will prevent that from showing up. So you get a lot more wearability of it. And it will last for years because it won't have that stain. So that's one of the reasons you also put trims on, is to accent, but also for practicability.